Exam day. What not to do. All right, everyone. I know what a lot of you are feeling right now. A mix of anticipation, maybe a little dread, hopefully some excitement, and definitely some nerves. That's completely okay. We're all human, and exams, well, they tend to bring out those feelings in all of us. But we're not here today to talk about the content of the exam. You've been working incredibly hard on that, and I have absolute faith in your preparation. We're here to talk about something just as important. On the day itself, how to manage yourself. We're so used to being told what to do, but sometimes clearing away the obstacles, knowing what not to do, is the most powerful way to set yourself up for success. This exam is important, yes, but it's one step. It's not the whole staircase, it's not the entire building, it's not your whole life. Keep that perspective. Tip number 1. Mindset is your superpower. Okay, let's get into it. Mindset. This isn't some abstract concept. Your mindset is, without a doubt, your most powerful tool on exam day. You've all heard me say it before. You've prepared, now it's time to perform. It's like being an athlete. You train for months, years even, and then there's game day. All that training comes down to that moment. But what determines how you perform? Yes, your knowledge, your skills, absolutely. But also, how you think. Are you going to walk into that exam room feeling defeated, thinking, I'm going to fail, I'm not good enough? Or are you going to walk in there thinking, I've got this, I've worked hard, I'm ready? That's what we're talking about here. This presentation, as I said, is about what not to do. We're going to clear the mental clutter, the negative self-talk, the unhelpful habits, so that your knowledge can shine through. Look at that equation. Positive self-talk plus strategic actions equals success. It's not magic. It's logic. If you believe in yourself, even just a little bit, and you combine that with smart strategic actions during the exam, which we'll talk about, your chances of success skyrocket. I've seen it happen so many times. 2 students equally prepared in terms of knowledge, but one walks in with a positive attitude and the other walks in convinced they'll fail. Guess who usually does better? It's not always a perfect correlation, but mindset makes a huge difference. It's the difference between seeing a challenge as an opportunity and seeing it as a threat. Tip number 2. Pre-exam pitfalls. Don't do this. All right, let's talk about the morning of the exam, the pre-exam danger zone. There are so many little things that can trip you up, and most of them are completely avoidable. First, don't cram. I know, it's tempting. That last-minute panic sets in, and you think, just one more hour, I'll just memorize this one more thing. But trust me, it backfires. Cramming at the last minute doesn't actually help you retain information in a meaningful way. It just increases your anxiety, makes you feel more overwhelmed, and clouds your thinking. Trust the preparation you've done over the past weeks and months. That's what will carry you through. Next, don't skip breakfast, and don't eat junk food. This is your brain fuel, people. Imagine trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach, or after eating a bag of candy. Your brain needs sustained energy to perform at its best. Avoid the sugary cereals, the pastries, the energy drinks that promise a quick fix. They'll give you a temporary boost, followed by a crash, right when you need to be focused. Go for something with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs. Oatmeal, eggs, fruit with yogurt, whole wheat toast with avocado. Something that will keep you going. Don't over-caffeinate. A little caffeine is fine for most people, but too much will make you jittery, anxious, and unable to concentrate. You'll be bouncing in your seat, your mind racing, and you won't be able to focus on the questions in front of you. Stick to your usual amount, or even a little less. Don't forget the essentials. This sounds so basic, but you'd be surprised how many people forget a pen, or their ID, or their calculator, if it's allowed. Make a checklist tonight. Put everything you need in your bag. This eliminates a major source of stress on the morning of the exam. You don't want to be scrambling around looking for a pencil 5 minutes before the exam starts. Don't rush. Plan to arrive early. Give yourself plenty of time to get to the exam room, find your seat, get settled, and take a few deep breaths. Rushing just adds unnecessary stress. It throws you off your game before you even start. Give yourself that buffer of time. And finally, don't discuss the exam before with your classmates. I know it is a natural impulse to share and compare, but try to resist it. Your friend's anxiety can affect you, or maybe they know something that you didn't focus on. Tip number 3. Stay in your focus zone. Okay, you're in the exam room, the booklets are being handed out, the clock is ticking. This is where mental toughness really comes into play. First and foremost, don't compare yourself to others. It's so easy to do. You look around, you see someone scribbling furiously, and you start to panic. Are they writing more than me? Do they know something I don't? Stop. It doesn't matter. Their progress, their speed, their anxiety, none of it is relevant to your exam. Focus on your own paper, your own knowledge, your own pace. Don't engage in negative chatter. This goes back to what I said before about the pre-exam huddles. Avoid those conversations where everyone is panicking and talking about how hard the exam is going to be. It's just going to feed your own anxiety. Stay in your own mental bubble, focus on your own preparation, and what happens if you open that exam booklet and see a question that throws you for a loop? Don't panic. It happens to everyone. Take a deep breath. Don't let that one question derail you. Move on. Focus on what you do know. Start with the questions you feel confident about. Build your momentum. You can always come back to the difficult question later. And this might sound incredibly simple, but it's so important. Don't forget to breathe. When we're stressed, we tend to take shallow, rapid breaths. This actually increases anxiety. Make a conscious effort to take deep, slow breaths. Inhale slowly, hold it for a few seconds. Exhale slowly, repeat. It will calm your nervous system and help you think more clearly. Finally, try to do some visualization. Close your eyes for a second and remember a moment where you felt calm and relaxed. It will allow you to regroup and get back on track. Tip number 4. Exam-taking tactics. Avoid these traps. Now let's talk about some specific strategies for tackling the exam itself. These are practical tips to help you maximize your performance. First, don't spend too long on one question. Time management is absolutely crucial. If you're stuck on a question, don't let it eat up all your time. Make a mark next to it, move on to the next question, and come back to it later if you have time. You don't want to miss out on answering questions you do know because you got bogged down on one difficult one. Don't second-guess yourself excessively. Your first instinct is often right, especially if you've prepared well. Of course, if you realize you made a clear mistake, change your answer. But don't go changing answers just because you're feeling unsure. Trust your initial judgment. This one seems obvious, but it's so important. Don't forget to read the instructions carefully. So many points are lost because students misinterpret the question or don't follow the instructions properly. Take your time, read each question carefully, understand exactly what it's asking before you start writing. Don't leave early, unless you're absolutely certain you're finished. Use all the time you're given. Review your answers, check for careless mistakes, make sure you've answered every question. Even if you feel like you've done everything you can, take a few extra minutes to just go over your work one last time. Pay attention to your posture. Don't hunch over. Sit up straight. It sounds minor, but it actually makes a difference. When you're hunched over, you restrict your breathing, which can increase anxiety and make it harder to focus. Good posture helps you breathe better and think more clearly. Don't be afraid to take a break if it's allowed. If the exam structure allows for it, a quick trip to the restroom or a few minutes to stretch and clear your head can be incredibly beneficial. It can help you refocus and come back to the exam with a fresh perspective. Finally, don't forget to wear a watch. You need to be able to keep track of your time. Many rooms may not have a visible clock. Tip number 5. Dealing with exam anxiety. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, anxiety. It's going to happen. It's perfectly normal to feel nervous before and during an exam. The key is to have strategies to manage it so it doesn't overwhelm you. First, acknowledge it. It's okay to feel nervous. Don't try to suppress it or pretend it's not there. Just accept it as a normal part of the process. We've talked about deep breathing a few times now, and I'm going to mention it again because it's so effective. Slow, deep breaths. Inhale, hold, exhale. Repeat. It's a simple technique, but it can make a huge difference in calming your nervous system. Positive self-talk is also incredibly powerful. Counteract those negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Tell yourself, I've prepared for this. I can do this. I know this material. It might feel a little silly at first, but it really does work. It helps to shift your mindset from one of fear to one of confidence. Try to practice a little mindfulness. Focus on the present moment. Don't get caught up in worrying about the past, I should have studied more, or the future, what if I fail? Just focus on the task at hand, answering the questions in front of you. Also, if you start feeling overwhelmed, try to yawn. It is a natural mechanism to regulate brain temperature. Finally, if you draw a blank on a particular topic, trust the work you have done. Apply what I like to call passive recall. You have reviewed the material and know the answers, let them come to you. Tip number 6. Keep things in perspective. This is so important, and I want you all to really listen to this. One exam does not define you. Your worth as a person, your intelligence, your potential, none of that is determined by a single test score. This exam is important, yes, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Focus on the effort you've put in. You've worked hard. You've prepared to the best of your ability. That's all you can do. Be proud of yourself for that effort, regardless of the outcome. And remember, every exam is a learning experience. Even if you don't get the grade you hoped for, you'll learn something. You'll learn about the material, about your study habits, about how you handle pressure. Use that knowledge to improve for the next time. Try to stay calm and keep things on perspective. Tip number 7. Believe in yourself. Finally, and most importantly, I want you all to believe in yourselves. You are prepared. You are capable. You can do this. I've seen the work you've put in. I've seen your dedication. I have absolute faith in each and every one of you.